For our mermaid, as you can see, we're going to be using quite a few balloons, mostly 160s. I've got, to start off with, I've got a lilac 260 here. I have it inflated with about a 5 or 6 inch tail, and I haven't tied this yet because I realize that many of you use pumps, and so you won't be able to inflate the middle very well. So what I've done is I've blown it up to, like I said, with about a 5 or 6 inch tail. Then I'm going to twist off a little small section there, about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, and then release the air out of this end, and then tie it right up against that. So what I've just created is a bubble in the middle, and to ensure that this doesn't shift later, I'm going to tie it on both sides. That also makes it look consistent. So now I've got a 260 with a little bubble about 1.5 inches to 2 inches in the middle of it. We're going to set that aside. Then I've got a peach 160 with about a 6 or 7 inch tail left on it. We're not going to use all of that. A peach 260, and I've blown up about 8 or 9 inches of it. 2 lime green 160s with about a 5 inch tail on each of those, and a red 160 with about a 5 inch tail on it. We're going to start by taking our peach 260. What we want to do with it, twist about 1.5 inch bubble at the top, and then this pinch twist needs to be really small. So I try to make that no bigger than a 1/2 inch, actually a little smaller if I can, and twist a little pinch twist in that right there. And then come down and twist about a 3 inch bubble, and then we're going to pump the rest off and tie that, and then just set that aside for the moment. That way it's ready for in a minute when we get ready to use that. Now we're going to take our 2 lime green 160s, and I'm going to tie the ends of these together. Now a lot of times I'll use a darker green for this. These are going to be your fins, but to help make sure that it shows up good against this black backdrop, I decided to go with the lighter green so you can see it. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim those 2 ends. I'm going to take, and from each of those, I'm going to make a small bubble and then make that into a pinch twist. That's from the first one, and then I'll do from the second one. Now I'm going to take one of them, and I'm going to make about a 3.5 to 4 inch bubble. And then I'm going to make a series of little small tiny bubbles, a little string of pearls. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that the length of the string of pearls is shorter than this bubble, so that when I pull this up, and I'm going to take, I made 4 in this one, and when I twist into those 2 pinch twists there at the bottom, it causes that to bow a little bit. This is going to be the bottom upper fin. Now once I've got that done with one side, I'm going to switch to the other balloon and repeat that process again. So I'll make about another 3.5 to 4 inch bubble. And of course you want to make the same number in your string of pearls on this other side, and then bring it down. And then if you position your 2 pinch twists, one on either side, you can see how that creates a nice little fin effect on the bottom. Now there's several ways you can get make her tail. The most common way that I've seen people do is just to take and spiral these 2 up, and I'll do that frequently. But sometimes I have another technique that I use, and I wanted to use this one so you can see it. What I'm going to do, this is, if you've already watched the moray eel segment, this is very similar to that. What I'll do is make about 2.5 to 3 inch bubble with both of those and twist them together, and then I'm going to take and make a pinch twist from each of the 160s to lock that into place. And she ends up with a segmented fin. And then I'm going to repeat that process again. Make the bubbles, and then a pinch twist from each of your 160s. And you can repeat this for as many times as you want until you run out of balloons or get close to running, because you're going to need to leave a little bit to make her waist. Or as long as you want her fins to be. I'm going to go ahead and do one more segment, 3. I think it looks pretty good. And you can see how it's kind of curving a little bit. If you'll make one of these, if you'll grab it so one is just slightly shorter than the other, it'll force a curve into it. Now when I get to this last part, I want to make these last 2 pinch twists fairly small. One from each 160. And then I'm going to make 2 larger pinch twists to complete her waist, one out of each one again. I want to make that pinch twist. I want to be sure to wrap that extra 160 around them and make sure that's locked in place. And then I'll do the same on the other side. Lock that in place. Just like that. That's going to be her waist. And then the extra that I have with these 160s I'm going to remove. And then I'm going to take the two ends and just tie them together. So once you've got that end tucked away, let's straighten it up a little bit. And there's her fin. Now we're going to take that 260 that we started with earlier, trim a little bit of that excess off. And then you're going to take, this is going to be your head, that's going to make her neck work, and this is her body. So take this bottom end of this long with the nozzle, and we're going to twist that into that little collection of 4 pinch twists at the top of her fin. And just kind of work that in so it's nice and secure in there. That's going to be her body. Now we're going to go ahead and take that lilac that we had earlier, take that bubble, and it helps this one, see how it's got air in it? If you'll take and make a little hole in the end of that, or just cut the end off so there's no air, it'll be easier to tie in a moment. Take that bubble that's in the middle, twist it into 2 equal bubbles, and then what you want to do is just layer down on top of it to hold those in place, and then just tie it in the back. And this obviously is making her swimsuit top. And then I'll trim off, I mean, you can leave straps on the back, but I don't want to leave them that long. So I'm going to trim them a little bit. This is the Dolly Parton of Mermaids here. So now we're going to take our 160 peach. What I'm going to do is make a little small, about a 1/2 inch bubble. Then make another one, make that second one into a pinch twist. Another small bubble, and make that into a pinch twist as well. We're making one of her hands, so one of her arms. And then we're going to make 2 little bubbles about a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. And then bring them back and twist them into that double pinch twist we had there. So there you get one little hand. Figure out about how long you want your arms. I'll make about 4-inch bubble. Twist it. And that way I know that it's soft enough to put that twist back in a moment. Then we come out here and we're going to reverse, so we're going to make our 2 little pinch twists. Just like that. And then we're going to make a hand with the 2 bubbles there that come down and lock together. And then with what's left over, we'll make, pretty, our other thumb. Make a little small bubble like the one that's sticking up there, and then excess remove. Tie that off. Just trim that. And straighten her little hand up there. So now we've got 2 arms. So you just want to find the middle again and twist that back into place. And then this is going to twist to that end of that pinch twist up at the top. Her head's going to kind of want to lean back, and so her arms, but once we put her hair on, that will help solve that problem. So grab your red 160. And then I found one of the easier ways to do this is I'll take the nozzle of the red and tie it to the nozzle on top of her head. Just like that. Let's trim that again. That way I don't have to worry about it being in the way. And now what I'll do is I'll take and make a little small 1/2 inch bubble, make that into a pinch twist, and then I'll make a little small fold twist so that the fold twist is a little wider than my finger, and wrap around that. And then that bubble, that pinch twist that was in at 260 where we attached arms, goes in the front, and you can see how that sort of separates her head from her body. Now we're going to take our red and we're going to run it down the back of her head and twist it into the back of her neck. Wrap it around. Then we're going to come back up the side of her head, twist it back into the pinch twist up at the top, just like that. And then we're going to go back down one more time into her neck. And then make sure that the excess is sticking out the back like that, and you can see how that shapes her. And now with this tail that you have left over, you can determine how long you want her hair to be. If you want to use all of that, you just fold that up into there, but I'm going to tie this end off. Okay. I don't need quite that much on there. I need just enough that I can twist it in at the base of her neck here. And just twist that around there a couple of times to secure it, then I'll tuck it up in her hair. Then you just take her hair, now let's kind of shape it a little bit so it's kind of flowing in the back like that. Draw you a face, and there's your little mermaid.